Hello and welcome to Heroes World TGIF. I'm Andre, and as always, I'm joined with my wingman Jesse. Jesse, how you doing?
Not bad. How are you this Friday evening?
I am not too bad. We've survived our first week of daylight savings time where we are. So, man, is it getting dark fast or what? I'm ready to curl up into bed at 9 o'clock sometimes because it's
Yeah.
pitch black at like 6 o'clock. But
Yes.
let's not have that interrupt any of the good stuff that we've got to talk about today. What is Heroes World TGIF, folks? It's all the good things that come in at Heroes World. And we are super stoked because it's the weekend. That's right. Friday is finally here. The weekend's about to begin. So we're going to talk about comics. We're going to talk about games. We're going to talk about all sorts of stuff. That's what the show's about. All the cool, nerdy hobbies that you might have. But today we have got a special episode. We're going to do something a little bit different. It is going to be a villain-centric episode. So we've got some cool villain books out that we wanted to talk about. We said, hey, why not do a whole show about that? But before we jump into that, Jesse, what do you got on tap for this weekend? What are you looking forward to doing now that you don't have to go to work?
I am probably going to watch Shang-Chi. It just came out on Disney Plus today,
Yes.
so I'm probably going to check that out after we're done here, most likely.
Nice.
Batman Imposter number 2 came out, which I haven't had a chance to check out, but I'm really excited to do that.
Yep.
Righteous Vengeance. I always get the title mixed up. That one there,
Righteous
yes.
Thirst for Vengeance Part 2. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I want to check out that one too. Also, there's a new show on Netflix. I don't know if you've heard of it. I know you have actually.
Oh,
But
yes.
it is called Arcane.
Woo! Yes.
You've seen a few episodes, right?
I totally have this, saw it come across the Netflix feed, hadn't heard about it, watched the trailer, and I'm like, whoa, what's this all about? And then I watched the first episode and I was like, yeah, I'm in. Art style works, setting works, hooked me right out of the
Yeah.
gate. And I gotta say, I know nothing about League of Legends, never really played it. Love the designs though.
Yeah.
Always love the designs of the
Fantastic.
characters in that game. But yeah, the cartoon, wow, amazing. So I'm glad you're getting to it because it's fantastic. Fantastic.
I watched episode 1, I think, on Wednesday, Thursday. I can't remember. But like you, I know nothing of League of Legends. Diddly squat.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to somebody I know, and I said, "Hey, I'm checking out this Arcane show." Oh, the League of Legends show? Yeah, I guess so. He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, what's the main character's name? What's her name? Is it Powder?"
Powder, yes.
Okay, I lied earlier. I know one thing about League of Legends, and that's one character named Jinx.
Yes.
And this friend of mine said, "What do you think of Powder? Like, have you seen her turn into Jinx yet?"
Yeah.
My mind was blown. So this
Yeah.
is, I guess, a prequel.
A
From
prequel
Jinx?
to it. Yeah. So I did the same thing. I after watching the first episode, I immediately messaged my buddy who's big into League of Legends, and I'm like, "Yo, what's this all about? Who's this Powder? Who's this thing?" He's like, "Powder. I don't know anybody." He's like, "The two main characters are Jinx and Vi," and I'm like, "Okay, I don't know who
Who's
they are.
that?
They haven't been introduced to me yet."
Yeah.
And so I said, "Are they sisters?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You'll get there. You'll get there." And I'm like, "Yo, have you watched this show yet?" And he's like, "No, not yet. I'm gonna wait till it's all done." So yeah, if you are gonna check out this show, it's on Netflix, but they're only dropping 3 episodes per week. This Friday is week 2, so we're gonna get up to episode 6. So I'm super looking forward to it. So hopefully you guys check it out because it's fantastic. Like I said, sometimes it's really nice to go in blind and not know anything about a property. And I think
Exactly.
that's why I really, really like this. I don't know anything about it, so everything's new. I don't know if they're got the the source material or the story right. And I think that's one of those things. Like for me, with the comic book movies and a lot of the Disney Plus stuff, I know too much about the characters, and I can't disassociate that. So sometimes it's nice to go right in fresh on something and not have that baggage to go with it. But yeah, just look at the art style and stuff like that. It's really, really good. Yeah, I really dig it. So yeah, hopefully you guys check it out. It right now, I'm 3 episodes in and it's getting 2 thumbs up for me.
There's so much. I don't know if it's brought up in the game at all, but like the lore, like Jinx, Powder, whatever her name is, whatever we're gonna call her. She builds those little robots in the first episode. I'm only 1 episode in, so you're way further than me. But she's building little robots. I don't know if that's a Jinx thing in the game or what, but I'm really digging being fresh and new to something, right? Like,
yeah, and you know what really got me was just almost the first scene of that first episode where you've got the sisters and the town is burning and the one sister's like just or Powder's just got her eyes closed and she's singing and the other sister's like kind of covering her and like right from there there's hardly any dialogue and stuff, but I'm just like, yo, it's pretty powerful, I just, like I said, right, hooked me right from that scene. One caveat I will say to people though is if you haven't watched the trailer, don't watch the trailer. Just watch the first episode. I think it's 23 minutes. And if you like it, continue. But I think the trailer gave away a lot of story things that I'm looking forward to seeing. So if you haven't watched it yet, don't do that. Just dive into the series. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised and rewarded and stuff. So yeah, definitely good thing. So you've got a good weekend packed up in front of you. Lots of cool hobby stuff to do. Myself, I'm going to look forward to Shang-Chi as well. I'm probably going to fire that up tonight. But I've also got some cool hobby and gaming stuff on tap to do. But we mentioned this is a all villain episode. So let's dive right in. I always like to say that comics are my first passion. And Jesse and I are like, boom, right up on Wednesday being the best day of the week, followed slowly by Friday because we get to come here and talk about all the good stuff. But this week we're going to talk about villain-centric books because DC has revealed or released a couple of really cool villain books. Marvel's got several villain books and a big one that came out this week. So we're going to talk about that later on in the show. But let's start with our first villain book, and that is Black Manta. And it's a limited series. This is issue number 1. And I got to, first off, let me give a shout out to my boy, Valentine Delandro, local artist. He's doing the covers and the interior on the first 2 books. He also drops the cover for the 3rd issue, which just came out last week. Yeah, great art. I'm really loving it. It's very moody. So he's capturing the mood of this character. So Black Manta, who is this guy and what do we know about him? Well, literally, the nice thing about this series is it takes what you think you know about Black Manta, turns it on its side, lets it slide off your plate, and then starts dropping you more information, just changing who Black Manta is, who he thought he was. And it talks about what his legacy is going to be, what he wants to be remembered as and stuff. So yeah, very very cool stuff. I think most people think of Black Manta as like just that Aquaman villain, right?
Yeah,
and we saw that he was the main adversary in the big Jason Momoa DC Aquaman movie. But there's a lot more to this character than meets the eye, and this series is actually fleshing it out. Personally, I learned a ton about the character in the first 3 issues. I don't know if you felt the same way, Jesse.
yeah. Without any spoilers, I think it gives a lot of backstory to actually who Black Manta is. Aquaman and I guess Black Manta, because they're tied together, is kind of the joke of the DC universe, right? Like Fish Boy, but Black Manta, he's very complex villain.
Yeah, and
Right?
it's pretty serious. Like basically you get the feeling that he's kind of a pirate, he's after power and stuff like that, but you don't really get the feeling, or I hadn't had the feeling before of just how deep and how well built this guy's criminal organization was, and just how like dangerous he is. And it's not just that suit of powered armor and stuff like that. There's a great panel I think we've got of him jumping into action.
Yeah, he looks fantastic.
It's super, super cool, like it's just like, yes, he's got that signature, that large helmet that we saw in the movies, but he's got these blades and the weaponry and just very like just kinetic. And the dude, he like Jesse said, he's angry and he's complex at the same time. It's not just this, undirected anger, but because of how, shall we say, vast his organization is, he's got a lot of targets on his back and stuff, and we see some of that coming into play. So the thing I like about this particular series so far is DC, and I'm also going to give Marvel a lot of credit right now. So you're actually doing a lot of limited series. They're telling you right out of the gate, this is a 6-issue series, 4-issue series, 12-issue series, whatever. And how that's different from years past is they might have just decided to launch a Black Manta ongoing series that might have fizzled out by issue 8, right? But this way, I think they're going to tell a tight story. It's 6 issues. If the sales are well, or if the critical acclaim is well, they'll probably go and continue and do more of that. So I like that the book is finite for right now. However, I do want to caveat that with, there was a couple moments in the 3 issues that I've read where things just happened really fast. I almost felt that I had, turned the page and didn't read it. So I went back a couple times. I'm like, wow, they are covering a lot of ground. It's almost like, and in a certain book, I think it was book 3, it almost felt like you were getting every third step,
go,
like
go,
one, then step 3, and you were always missing step 2. Again, it's not crazy hard to follow. However, I think I wanted more because of it. And there was a really great moment. I can't remember what issue it was. I think it was issue number 2. And you had these little kids playing superhero, and one of the kids dressed up as Black Manta, and his friends are like, "Oh, you're a villain, you're a villain." He's like, "No, Black Manta saved me from pirates. He's a hero too," and stuff. And I almost wanted to get into a little bit more of that, like the public's perception of him. Like, is he really, just this mercenary bad guy and stuff? So yeah, I thought that was a really cool angle. So hopefully we'll see some more of that. But yeah, the book covers so much. I didn't expect to see the new Amazonians or Amazons with Nubia, Queen of the Amazons, in there. So that was nice. DC's really fleshing out that segment of the realm. But yeah,
without
cool book. And I don't think, like, right now, we've supported it big time, because as I said, it's my friend Valentine doing the art. But I don't know if a lot of people are heading to pick the book up. But yeah, like, we had the cover up there. It's a great first cover. The second book is just super cool. I love the cover of that one. So yeah, definitely put this book on your radar. Not your typical villain book, and you're definitely going to learn something about Black Manta, because he's learning something about himself. So yeah, definitely, I think worth the read. Even if you're not an Aquaman fan, don't let that stop you. This book has something to offer, and I think what they're setting up might have ramifications into a new series, the prelude to the Aquaman, and I think it is also going to have some ramifications, like I said, with the Amazons. So yeah, pretty cool that it's happening or starting in this corner of the book.
Was that a first appearance of the new Amazonian? Without spoiling anything, the one with the white hair? Was that her first, or has she shown up before?
I had not seen that character before, and stuff. Yeah, so I think that was pretty cool. And it's we don't even know what her full story is, but she's got connections to both the Amazons and the Atlanteans. So yeah, there's a lot of potential history going on in that. And it was a really interesting, shall we say, rebirth or appearance. So yeah, definitely check out Black Manta. Really, like I said, I think it's going to be a sleeper hit. So check it out. All right, next up, we've got one of DC's biggest, baddest, definitely deadliest villains to talk about, and that's none other than Deathstroke the Terminator. And he's got a brand new series that has just hit issue number 2, and it's brought to us by Joshua Williamson with amazing art by Howard Porter. And I have to give a shout out. Sometimes I miss shouting out the colorists, so I do apologize. But the colorist is the Studio Hi-Fi. And wow, the colors on this book pop. Howard Porter's art is fantastic. And what this book is called, Deathstroke Inc. And we have a new twist, a new turn on Deathstroke the Terminator. Known to be an assassin and a mercenary for hire, Deathstroke is now, shall we say, coming to the end of his long career. And he's looking back, not with remorse, but he's like, I've done the villain thing. I've been a hero a couple of times. I've been a mercenary, but he's like, let me try and, not atone, but let me try being a hero and do some good in the world. Yeah. And he teams up with an organization called Trust. They recruit Black Canary. Yep, that's right. Dina Lance, Black Canary, gets recruited to work with him, with Slade. And they are the field agents. And they put together this really cool strike team that is doing kind of Mission Impossible-esque dirty work. And almost like, they put the crew, they've got the new toy man who has basically repairing Batman's tech. So they have got Batman's tech. If you guys have been following Batman, a lot of his tech got on the black market. Trust bought it all up. Toyman is retrofitting it for their use. So it's pretty cool how they've got this team going. And the Trust organization sounds a little bit shady and fishy, but both our heroes, Dina Lance and Slade Wilson, they both know something's on the up and up. And actually, what I really liked about it was they actually teased this series in the Batman Urban, is it called Urban Knights, Jesse, that Batman series?
Urban Knights, Urban Legends, something.
Urban Lights or Urban Legends, yeah. They teased that, and we had basically Oracle inserting Dina Lance into Trust so she can kind of be a double agent to make sure that these guys are on the up and up. And the cool thing is, in issue number 2, going to give you guys a little bit of spoilers. Issue number 2, we find out that Trust really isn't being super honest with their agents in the field, and they've got some big plans for the Earth. So as I said, the art is fantastic. Let's pull up a couple other of those images that we've got there.
We got
Jesse. Yeah,
we got this one. I didn't know Deathstroke was kind of the Captain America of the DC universe with the let's just say the super soldier serum.
Yep, very
with it, but it kind of made him go crazy, right?
Yeah, no, very, very similar. And he's got kind of this tragic story to him as well. But he's a pretty cool character. This is one of those panels that kind of chronicle in each panel a different part of his life. So that is really cool. And like I said, the action scenes in this book, this is a action fest. Yeah, like it's a Deathstroke on a Batmobile, Gatling gun. Yeah, it's super cool. It's got some kind of, funny lines. Think of this as your, Hollywood buddy cop, big blockbuster movie. Black Canary doesn't trust Slade. Slade definitely doesn't trust Black Canary. But when they're in the field and have to rely on each other, they know they're professional enough and capable enough to help each other out and have each other's backs. So yeah, I dig it. It isn't like this super deep, comic book, but sometimes you just want to see your heroes get in the mix and mix it up. And some amazing covers. I don't know if we've pulled images of them, but I've grabbed the Matina covers there. And yeah, this one was sick.
Sounds nice.
And this one here, of course, the image does not appear in the comic, but it's Dina just lording over Deathstroke, who looks like he's been knocked over and out for the count. But yeah, just a crazy cool comic so far. Bright, colorful, funny at moments, and with a little bit of mystery. So I think right now that comic has got a lot going for it. And we have to really wait and see, because if Slade is really dying from something, is he going to try and find a cure, or has he been misinformed, or is somebody, tricking him? So I'm really curious. I've always liked his character. Very cool villain. He's just a badass. He's always had this great costume design and stuff. And there's been so many people that have borrowed from his, shall we say, power set, his costume, what he is, that you cannot, shall we say, ignore the impact that a character like Slade Wilson has had on, not only the DC universe, but other comic book universe as well. And go ahead.
My boy Deadpool. Wade Wilson.
Wade Wilson.
Copy of Slade Wilson, right?
Yep.
I don't think you could make it any more obvious than
and the same armory too. He's got the knife, the sword, and the gunplay. The only difference is obviously Deadpool is big into the wisecracks and stuff. But definitely an influence there. And also look at that influence in Hollywood. We had Deathstroke being a super big part of the Green Arrow show, and they changed up his origins quite a bit for that.
He was big in Titans too,
and he was
the second season.
Yeah, well, that's where he's originally from. Was from the Teen Titans comic, so they got that part right. But
sorry, also, one question. At the store, don't you have the first appearance of Deathstroke in the Titans?
We actually do have a CGC graded copy of the first appearance of Deathstroke, coming in at a nice 9.6.
Wow.
So that's a cool book. That's when you talk about
history.
Yeah, not only a piece of history, but when you talk about a key book, he's a key character. He's stuck around since the 80s. He's had media influence. He's been in video games, lots of stuff. So definitely a cool character to have, and definitely a cool character to have these, shall we say, hey, who would win? He's one of those guys that you always want to be like, yo, would Batman be able to take on Deathstroke the Terminator? Would, somebody? So he's a great character like that. And speaking of that, we are going to dive into our key segment of this week, and that is another of our hero battles. But of course, because today's a all villain episode, we are doing Who Will Win Villain Edition, Deathstroke the Terminator versus Marvel's Taskmaster. Who would win? That's right. We've got two of the deadliest assassins in either universe. We just talked a little bit about Slade Wilson. Let's talk about Tony Masters, the Taskmaster, for a little bit. And we don't even know if that's his actual real name, but that's kind of the history of the character. But there is some, shall we say, questions about whether or not that's his true name. But Taskmaster, really, really interesting character. We are going to be talking about, of course, the comic book Taskmaster, not the Taskmaster that appeared in Black Widow. So what do we know about Taskmaster is this guy is a former SHIELD agent, okay? SHIELD agent turned into mercenary assassin. He is known to train other mercenaries and organizations. And why does he do it? How does he do it? Why does he stand a chance doing it? So he has got photographic muscle response. Okay, so what does that mean? It's not quite the same thing as a photographic memory, but if he sees you do something, he can do it quite literally. So if he sees Captain America chuck that shield, rebound it off of a villain's face, destroy a tank, he's going to be able to do it. He sees Daredevil throw those billy clubs, he's going to be able to do it. So this guy can watch you. Doesn't even matter how long, how fast you're moving, he's going to be able to do that exact thing. He is so good at this that he can end up predicting the moves you are going to make, or the hero or the villain that he's fighting. So he's almost got like precognition, except it's literally just based on him knowing what moves chain from one move to the next. So as a shield agent, he's highly intelligent. He is got the memory to remember so many moves, so many weapons, so many just so many things. This guy is a living weapon, but it comes at a cost, because all of that data in his brain is kind of pushing out his memory. So he's got great muscle memory. He's going to remember all those moves. He can literally put in a VHS tape or a DVD hologram, watch somebody's moves, and he knows those moves, but he may forget a face. He may forget that he's met somebody, so much so that he has to, as a handler, to basically keep all of those things in check. Somebody who's going to make sure that he's getting paid on time. Somebody's going to make sure
the little things, right?
Yeah, the little things.
The little things you'll forget.
So it's crazy. His backstory is super cool. It's like a little tragic at points and stuff like that. But we mostly see him in this type of costume. His regular armory, he's a master swordsman. He usually has a shield like Captain America, be it an energy shield or an actual physical shield. And he also has marksmans. He will use bows. He will use guns. Remember, this guy's tussled with almost everybody in the Marvel universe. So from Elektra to Bullseye to Punisher to Daredevil to Spider-Man, think of knowing all of those moves and being able to just master them and go toe-to-toe with people. So let's now flip it and talk a little bit about Deathstroke the Terminator, Wade Wilson. So like Jesse said earlier on in the show, this guy was a soldier for the American Armed Forces, and he literally has a actual photographic memory. This was his natural ability, trained to be one of the best soldiers, literally rose up in the ranks, could memorize anything, brilliant tactician and stuff. And so volunteers to take on an experiment that will enhance and protect him from truth serum. But that goes horribly wrong, and it instead enhances his already great ability to memorize stuff in the photograph memory, gives him enhanced speed, enhanced strength, enhanced regeneration. It basically gives him kind of this fountain of youth. He stops aging. He's almost immortal. He's got regeneration powers, super strength. What does this guy not have at this point? So they say he uses 90% of his brain, whereas the rest of us use 10%. And you add into that he is a weapon master that is second to probably none in the DC universe. He's gone toe-to-toe with Batman. He's gone toe-to-toe with Shiva. Literally, this guy is no joke. He is probably the deadliest man in the DC universe. Now, what sets him apart is that he's a mercenary first and foremost. So he may beat you, but he's not going to kill you unless he's been contracted to, right? So he's got this kind of honor system and stuff. However, that doesn't stop him from literally like mopping the floor with people. Once he gets hired to do something, this guy does it like no other. Literally, one of my favorite comics with him is a book called The Identity Crisis, where he took down all of the Justice League straight up by himself. The Justice League could not stop him, and how he did it was methodical and vicious. Like he slit Black Canary's throat so she couldn't scream, cuts the Flash on his Achilles so he can't run, this guy is brutal. And I think that's in this fight, I'm having the edge go definitely to Deathstroke because he is a super intelligent fighter. Like not only fighter, just an intelligent dude. Like this guy is a
He's
brilliant
very smart. Yeah.
His mind moves faster than almost any other mind. So he's probably played out all the options, okay, that's going to happen. So even though Taskmaster could probably memorize and predict Deathstroke's moves, Deathstroke is going to figure out that that's what he's doing and probably lead him into different ways of making mistakes. Also, unfortunately for Mr. Taskmaster, Deathstroke has superhuman strength and abilities. Taskmaster is a mere mortal. He can probably lift 2 to 3 times his own body weight and strength, but he does not have that enhanced muscles, or he does not have a regeneration factor. So even though he could probably go toe-to-toe with Slade for rounds 1 through 5, by round 6 he's going to be tired. Round 7 he's not going to be able to be standing up, and then I don't think it goes to a round 8 because Slade would just either off with his head or just shoots him in the back as he outmaneuvers him. So I don't know if you feel the same about that, the outcome of that fight. My money would always be on the Terminator, Deathstroke.
So you said, what does Deathstroke not have? Well, he doesn't have 2 eyes.
Yes.
He's only got 1 eye, which it's funny to bring up, but that does inebriate his vision. So he has no depth perception, right? So Taskmaster does have an advantage over him, very tiny bit when it comes to depth perception.
That's quite true.
Yeah.
That's quite true. But the cool thing about when Slade lost his eye, he actually, that was a big thing for his costume. He wasn't hiding the fact that he is this disability, and even though he doesn't have that perception, him covering his face, he's like saying, yeah, I've got 1 eye and I'm still going to be better, smarter, faster. You can't pull it on him. And again, he's just such a badass, and we've seen that even in that comic when we talked about those first 2 issues, like what Slade does. It's super cool. And when he's written by a guy who understands the character and does some fantastic fun things with it, it's truly a sight to see. I do want to mention one little bit of comic trivia though. Taskmaster and Slade Wilson, Deathstroke, they were both designed by the artist George Perez, and they both appeared in the same year. Titans was, I think, December of 1980, and I think Taskmaster appears in the Avengers in May. So it's pretty cool. They are very similar in their power sets and also their costume. Like, look at the design. George Perez, the original costume designs are pretty cool, and they're very, very similar. But over the years, they have changed, quite a bit and evolved. But yeah, 2 badass characters. So Jesse, sorry, let me get back to that. Are you saying that you think Taskmaster would come out in this battle?
Well, Taskmaster, I would kind of compare him to an older cell phone with memory issues. Yes. So if you have to take a picture, you got to delete a picture.
Yep.
So with Taskmaster, to learn a new fighting style, to adapt to somebody's fighting style, he's got to get rid of a different fighting style, correct?
I think that his muscle memory remains, but I think it's his other memory. I think it's his the other information storage that keeps getting deleted. So I think if he has too many fighting styles, he can't keep anything else. Like, he might remember where he lives, but not how to get there, type of thing. I think it's kind of a weird thing how they describe it, but that would actually be cool. Like, if he remembered one fighting style, he would lose another. But I don't think that's how it works, because I think he's always that master swordsman. So he always has the sword, he always has the shield. So I think there's certain ones that are ingrained just in him, right?
That being said, I remember a few years back playing a little game called what was it? Batman Arkham
Ar-
City,
Arkham Origins.
Arkham Origins. Yes,
Yeah.
correct. And the hardest person to beat in that game
Was Deathstroke.
was Deathstroke. So Deathstroke has my vote. He would win
Yeah.
9 times out of 10.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. And I think it's actually funny because in that particular game, I think Batman or Deathstroke says to Batman, he's like, "You're only alive because they didn't pay me to kill you." And I just love that concept, because we all think of Batman as the epitome and stuff like that, but realistically, like I think there's very few people who could survive Slade Wilson, very very few on either side of the comic realm, be it Marvel or DC. So
But
maybe guys, if you're out there, if you can think of somebody you think that can actually take down Mr. Wilson the Terminator, and please don't come at me with Frank Castle the Punisher, because as much as I love the Punisher, he just a dude. He like Slade would just walk by him and like just shoot him, like it wouldn't even be a thing. So anybody but Punisher, let's forget about him.
1 second here. Please let us know in the comments, or if you're watching right now, please let us know who you think would win, because last time we did this, we were arguing for about 5 minutes how Batman would beat who did you pick?
Blade.
Blade.
I said Blade would win. You said Batman would win.
And guess what? Nobody commented. It was a dead draw. We both.
I don't know if it was a dead draw. I think a couple people commented when we replayed the video on YouTube,
No.
but yeah, nobody.
It was a draw
right away. No.
It was a draw.
No. We all know it's Blade. We all know.
But let us know
for that version of Batman, anyways.
Somebody's saying now. Here, hold on. Somebody's saying now Blade would win. We're not talking Blade or Batman anymore. They tied. We're talking Deathstroke.
No. They definitely we can say that Blade would win, but in this battle right now, I'm pretty sure most people will agree. Hey, but actually, we're in agreement here, so we will. I think the challenge, like I said, is to pick somebody that Deathstroke can't beat, or whatever. So that'd be pretty cool.
One question for you, Andre.
Yes.
DC and Marvel, who do you think has the better villains?
Who
has the better rogues gallery? Who has the better collection of villains?
Wow. You know what? They both have stellar villains. I think the difference being, I do think that DC has more iconic villains, and that is just due in part to the knowledge and the depth and the good stuff of Batman's rogues gallery. Like on Batman's rogues gallery alone, there's so many interesting things. Marvel, I think the problem with Marvel's villains is that too often than not, Marvel's villains end up rolling up and becoming heroes down the road, and then they're taken out of the villain pool. Like I love Magneto, right? Yeah. If Magneto was a villain all the time, I'd be like, yo, the heroes are screwed. Like this is a guy that they cannot. It's going to take a ton of them to mess with, and I think that's kind of the problem with Marvel's villains. They try to get us to sympathize with them too much, and they cross over. So I would say edge going to the DC, but with that caveat, if we could go and pick and say when they were villains, I would say they are probably on par, but yeah, edge going slightly to DC.
That being said, we've talked about Deathstroke, who is trying to do good. We talked about Black Manta, who saved the kid in the first issue.
Mm-hmm.
What about Marvel's Venom? He started out as a bad guy who is now good, and that will segue us into our comic book spotlight of the week, which is Venom #1 by who is it again? Sorry, I don't have it written down.
This is what we call a juggernaut of a creative team. It is written by the pair of Al Ewing and Ram V, and we've got stellar art by Brian Hitch. And wow, I got to tell you, this team is phenomenal. There's a couple covers for number one. That's the Hitch cover there. But yeah, Ewing coming off of a stellar run from the Immortal Hulk that showed us a different side of the Hulk, turning the Hulk into this horror-esque comic book, and an amazing 50-issue run that just finished a little while ago. And we've almost got a passing or a trading of the baton, because Donny Cates is going to be writing the new Hulk series, and Al Ewing is taking over Cates' Venom series. The cool thing about this Venom series is that it's taking off, or it's starting off right where Donny Cates' run left. And that was the whole end with the King in Black big crossover. And now we have a brand new Venom. And it is not Eddie Brock. Eddie Brock has transcended, and he has become the new king of the symbiotes. And I'm like, wow, that's super damn interesting. And I'm glad that they took the time in this first double-sized issue to explain that. Let me drop a couple of things here just to set up the background for me and Venom. Loved Venom as a villain, can't stand Eddie Brock as a character. And as Eddie Brock kept trying to do good, I was just like, I can't buy it. Really like the Flash Thompson Venom. Loved that idea, but then Eddie Brock got it back, and I was like, man, let's just get rid of this guy. So Donny Cates' run, even though it was decent, I couldn't read all of it. I was just not interested, not believing the change in this character and stuff, but I'm glad he stuck through with it. And I was quite surprised, even though we knew where the series was headed. But were you surprised that they actually committed to the change and the handing over of the symbiote?
Yeah, because we have a new Venom now, and it's somebody actually, I guess we can say it because it was.
We can spoil it because it's been said. Yeah,
the whole King in Black thing was about this new Venom, and it is Eddie Brock's son, Dylan.
yeah.
Right? He's taking the mantle over for Venom, and my goodness, look at this picture. Doesn't he look scarier than Venom? Like, he looks very scary, more scary than I can remember Eddie Brock's Venom being.
For
Right?
sure.
I don't know if it's the way he's drawn, but he looks scary. And I think, like, if we go back to this picture here, he looks very angry. Dylan looks like a very angry kid.
He's an angry, troubled kid, and I think because he's angrier from a younger stage, you're absolutely right. He could end up being a scarier Venom and stuff. And then, like I said, going back to all that cosmic stuff, there's a great image, and I think we've got it here, of Venom in space. Eddie Brock now being the new King in Black, he can literally control or put his mind into other symbiotes around him, and they all worship him. He is literally, their king. So it's almost like he puts a piece of his mind in theirs, and he can operate them and stuff. So it's an interesting power, but it's also taking him away from his son, and there's a lot of resentment there and stuff. And I think that's going to cause a lot of issues. So we're going to see how, if Venom is literally this product of the symbiote feeling in a way left and abandoned by Eddie Brock, as well as the son feeling abandoned because he's off in space all the time, and he left the Venom symbiote with his son. So I think that is going to cause some major issues, because if we all know the origin of the Venom symbiote, it was really that rejection that Peter had given him that really formed that hatred in the symbiote, and the symbiote was attracted to Brock originally because of his hatred to Spider-Man. So that's how the two of them formed, and we got Venom in the first place. And of course, Donny Cates has expanded on that and talked about the planet of the symbiotes and Null, the original king of the symbiotes, and stuff like that. So I do believe this book is going to have two of those storylines kind of going at the same time. We're going to have Eddie Brock in space doing his stuff, and then we're also going to have Dylan on Earth being this new Venom and trying and getting used to the suit, but he already seems to be usurping control over the suit. And I would have thought that the suit would have been more dominant in him. So yeah, it's a very good first issue. Highly recommend it. That's why it's our spotlight book. You know, sometimes a book comes out and you just can't deny that it was worth the wait and worth the buzz, you know, and that's you know, that's a given. And like I said, I'm not even a big fan of Venom, but now I think I'm more of a like I'm more into this because it's his son, believe it or not. Like I said, Eddie Brock just wasn't doing it for me, but I did dig, like I said, Venom when he was Flash Thompson, and digging and have the potential to really like him now with it being Dylan Brock.
Dylan seems very angry. I believe, what was it, the first few panels? It was Eddie Brock kind of talking to him, and he said, whatever happens, do not bond with the symbiote. Guess what he does?
Yeah.
Spoilers, he bonds with the symbiote.
First thing he does, yeah. And then they've got, like, again, we've got an amazing action-packed issue. And then we've got this really cool, you know, hey, this is coming in issue 2. And yeah, as you know, one of the weaknesses of the symbiote is fire and sonic sound, right? So yeah, maybe young Dylan is bitten off more than he can chew, but definitely do not miss out on basically digging in and chewing up this book. Highly recommend it. We've got tons of copies at the shop. There's lots of covers to choose from. I should have grabbed a cover, a picture of the In-Huck Lee cover. I love that one. There it is. That's so damn cool.
I think it's my favorite cover.
Yeah, so definitely pick up Venom #1, and that's by, again, Marvel Comics, Al Ewing, Ram V, and Brian Hitch. So, guys, that concludes our episode on the villain episode. So let us know how you liked it. Let us know if you want us to do cool other themed ones. And also let us know if you think that we're both right, that Deathstroke the Terminator beats out Taskmaster, or if we're wrong. Tell us why we're wrong. We would love to hear from you. And as always, make sure you check us out. Heroes World Online. We've got new content coming at you all the time. Many different topics, many different shows, but always talking about the stuff that you know and love. So for this Friday, I'm Andre, and this is Jesse. Any last words there, Jesse?
Yeah. Do you mind if I give a little shout out to a little comic book I've
definitely
been following since day one?
That's why we are here.
I'm gonna. It's an unknown book, but it's called Crossovers.
I don't know if it's not quite unknown, but
not many people are reading it, and I haven't seen anybody talking about what happened in this issue #9. So we talk at the shop about how cool it would be if, full spoilers, by the way, if you plan on reading this, or if it's on your pull list and you're going to read it, click off now.
Yeah.
But we always talk about how cool it would be if Spider-Man fought Spawn, or help me out here, Punisher fights Deathstroke, or yada yada.
Yep.
Crossovers is a little image book where all the image characters have been coming together and interacting with each other. So the first arc started with a bubble. So there was an explosion and comic book characters bursted out. So we had all the image characters running around. We had the Powers folks running around. We had Chip Zdarsky. He was actually a comic book character in what was it? Safe Sex?
Yeah.
He was a comic book character, and Chip Zdarsky comic book seeked out Chip Zdarsky, author, and they kind of had a little weird interaction with each other. They became friends, and comic Chip Zdarsky vowed his life to save author Chip Zdarsky. So all these images books are coming together, and Crossover sounds like a cute title, like, haha, we're going to hear them say saga. But a little strange thing happened at the end of this issue. It was revealed that comic book characters are actually trying to kill their authors because they want to be free. They don't want to be tied down to stories anymore. So, you know these guys here. I'm just going to show you a few panels. Those are the Powers detectives, correct?
Yep.
So they get a mysterious phone call and they have to go investigate a crime scene. And I'm going to show you a little image here. Do you see what that says? Do you see what the crime scene where they're outside of?
Oh, shoot. That's really cool.
Okay.
Mask Zorro there. Yeah.
So they're going along, and full spoilers, click off now. I'm just kidding. That's Scott Snyder. He's dead.
What?
Somebody
killed Scott Snyder?
And hold on, here's where the spoilers are. I forget her name, but she picks up the murder weapon. And
it's a batarang?
A batarang.
Nice.
So, crossovers. Does that mean we're going to have a crossover between Marvel, DC, and Image? Right?
That would be huge, and there was a lot of talk about that during the opening months of the pandemic, and we never saw anything. But you got to tell us who's writing crossover, because I think that's going to definitely pique some people's interest, because he's one of the hottest writers right now.
Sorry, I forgot. It was our boy we talked about earlier, Donny Cates.
Donny Cates,
and
right?
The art is by Jeff Shaw.
Yeah, so very cool book. It definitely started strong. I think Jesse's right. Not enough people are reading it. So make sure, if you want, check that out. First trade paperback should be available very, very soon if it's not already. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, I'm just going to show you all of our online content. We're trying to bring you something new all the time. Sunday, we've got the Heroes World podcast. Monday, we've got the Sidekick Show. Thursday, we've got So What I Miss, and that's all your geek news. And of course, Friday, your favorite day of the week, Heroes World TGIF. Thank you so much for joining us. Please, if you can, like, comment, subscribe, hey, and even recommend us and tell a friend.